First and foremost, I wish that everyone have a happy and blessed new year. This is the Father Time Network. I am your host, Anthony. And on this platform, we talk about the importance. That's right, the importance of being a father. I'm here to make being a father cool again. But before we start, let's get into that intro. I want to start the year off on a positive note with a positive message. You know, later on down the line, we're going to get into some of the negative things that come with being a father. I'm going to explain to y'all how I was able to get custody of my daughter and some of the steps that I took and some of the things that I went to that led up to me having to go to court, you know, and get custody of my daughter. But today I want to talk about how important it is to try to stay with the woman that you have children with. And for some, it may be difficult. For some, it may be like, yo, you know, it was a one-night stand. You know, the woman wound up getting pregnant. I really don't like her like that. And if that's the case, it is what it is. But for the most part, try to stay with the woman that you have children with. And let me explain why. So for those that don't know, I have custody of my daughter. I have 3 children. I have a 13-year-old daughter, I have a 3-year-old son, and I have a 2-year-old son. So my 13-year-old daughter is the one that I had to go to court for and get custody for. When the relationship ended, things started to get a little rocky, and we'll dive deep into that on another episode. But for now, when I moved on and the relationship ended, obviously, you know, I was looking for a new partner, you know, a new woman. I found one, we had children together, and now we live together. And prior to me meeting this woman, I dealt with several other women. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm just basically telling you my story. And there's one particular woman who I thought and I swore that I was going to marry this woman. I'm talking about she was like half Indian and half like Panamanian. Like, this was a beautiful woman. Beautiful woman. And I probably would have married this woman, right? But one thing I noticed is she was always in competition with my daughter. I remember one particular time when she called me. No, actually, I called her to check on her. I said, hey, you know, what's going on? You know, how you doing? How was your day? She said, oh, I'm sick. Can you come over and take care of me? And my response was, unfortunately, my daughter is sick also. I'm here taking care of her. And this woman replied like, I'm sick too. You don't care about me? And at that moment, I kind of knew that the relationship was not going to work. Because as me being a father, and my daughter being a daddy's girl, my child is going to come first, especially if we're in the dating stage. And it seemed like this woman was always in competition with my attention when it came to my daughter. And little does she know, you're never going to win that battle. Since my daughter was born, she's been a daddy's girl. When my daughter was born, she was a stillborn. I damn near was ready to beat the doctor up because he stopped performing CPR on my child. And I told the doctor, this is not going to end like this. You're going to keep doing CPR until I tell you to stop. That man started doing CPR on my child, putting a little pump on her mouth and squeezing it. She started breathing. Had I not did that, my daughter wouldn't even be here. So we have a bond. My daughter has always been a daddy's girl. But I say that to say this. The reason why I say you should stick with the woman that you have children with is because when you get into a new relationship, you never know how that person is going to feel about your child. Me, I'm the type of man, I work 6, sometimes 7 days a week. I'm out here trying to get it so I can provide for these babies. Sometimes 70 hours, 80 hours a week. So if I'm coming home late, I have to be able to trust you with my child. And nowadays we see it all over television, all over the internet, how somebody met somebody and then they left them with the child, and then this person beat the child to death or abused the child. You have to be very careful about the person that you jump into a new relationship with when it comes to separating from the woman who you have children with. That's why I say try your best to make it work, because 9 times out of 10, the woman that you have children with is not going to abuse her own child. Now, in some cases that does happen, but for the most part, most women are not going to harm their own child unless you're with, somebody that's, got some loose screws. But for the most part, when you leave a relationship and you move on and you get into a new relationship, you have to make sure your child is comfortable around that person also. Because if your child is not, now as a father, you have to make a decision on, do I want to go with my feelings about this new woman, or do I want to be a father and put my child first and their safety and security? Because as me being a father, the safety and security of my children will always come first. These are my babies. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not getting with no woman. I don't care how good her, cootie cat is. I don't care about none of that. If you don't treat my kids right, me and you not going to be together. And that's why I say try your best to make the relationship work, because you never want to put your kids in an uncomfortable situation. When you get with somebody else, 9 times out of 10, before your child meets that new person, y'all already have a bond. So now you're trying to implement your child into that bond that y'all already have. And what if your child says, I don't like this person? When you're not around, Dad, this person doesn't treat me right. Now, as a father, you have to make a real decision. And me, I know what the decision is. Like I said, that Indian woman was a beautiful woman, man. I'm talking about a masterpiece. When I looked at that woman, I just was like, wow, like God really did his thing with you. But up here, she was suffering. She was suffering bad, needing attention. She lost her father at a young age, so she never really had a man to show her attention. So when it came to me, she was always yearning for my attention. If I didn't call this woman every day, she would have a problem. If I wasn't pulling up to her house at least 2-3 times a week, she would have a problem. And for me, that's a problem, because I have a child to take care of. And I can only imagine if me and this woman would have had kids together, she probably would have wanted me to focus on our kids and totally leave my child behind that I had prior to us getting into a relationship or having kids together. And that's not going to happen. I treat all my kids equally. I love my kids equally. I provide, I take care of them. I make sure that they're safe equally. It ain't no picks. So try your best, man, as a father, as a man, to make the relationship work and stick with the woman that you have children with. That's going to make it more easier, for your kids. Because when you jump into a new relationship, you have to take how your child feels into accountability. At least me. I'm not going to tell you what you have to do. I don't have the authority to do that. Excuse me. I'm just saying me personally. If I get into a new relationship, I have to make sure my child aligns with that person. My 2 sons' mother, if I'm working late and I call my daughter and say, hey, baby girl, I'm on my way home. Did you eat? Yeah, I already ate, Dad. I'm good. I'm on my way to bed. That lets me know that my son's mother made sure that my daughter is straight. She knows this man is out here working, trying to put food on the table. I'm going to go ahead and make sure all the kids eat, not just my boys. I'm going to make sure the boys eat and his daughter. That's why me and this woman are together right now, because she has a love for my daughter. My daughter loves doing hair. If my daughter is practicing a new hairstyle, she'll pull my daughter to the side. Hey, man, you should do it this way. You should braid it under so the fake hair doesn't show and all that stuff. They have little girl talks. I like that. That lets me know that you not only care about me, you care about my child. Therefore, I can care about you that much more. So to all the fathers, man, I know sometimes relationships get hard. I know it get rocky. I know it's easy just to roll out and, do your own thing. But if you have children with a woman, man, try your best to make that situation work, because when you move on to that new relationship, you're bringing your children into that new relationship. And you always want to make sure that your children are safe. You always want to make sure that they, feel good. You always want to make sure that your children are in a good space. So many children, man, commit suicide. So many children get abused because they're just left with the wrong person. Or the parent got into a new relationship and they just had the wrong interpretation of this new person. Whole time, this is a whole child molester. Whole time, this person don't even like kids. But they put on the front just to reel you in. The whole time when you leave your kids with them, they're abusing your kids. And nobody wants that, man. I do this for these babies, man. I do this to make it known how important it is for fathers to be in their child's life. So I hope somebody in the world, man, takes in this message if they're thinking about leaving a relationship or getting into a new relationship. If there's room to work on it, if there's room to make the relationship work and y'all have kids together, try your best to stay together for the sake of the children. And don't exclude your happiness, because that's very important. If I'm not happy, I can't get up and go to work. I can't go make no money. I don't feel good. I can't take care of nobody. So you have to take care of yourself first as well. But if it's something that you can work on to make sure that your children or your child is good, safe, try your best to do that, because that's going to give you peace of mind as a father, as a man, when you out here trying to make money and put food on the table and provide for your kids, that, hey, man, my babies is at the house and they safe. I don't have to worry about their security because I know that my new lady or their mother has them covered. That's less I got to worry about. I can strictly come to work, focus on getting money. And when I leave work, I can go home and focus on my family and know that everybody is good. As us being fathers, our job is to provide. We got to put food on the table. We got to put clothes on the kids' back, make sure these bills is paid, make sure the cars is running. So we want to alleviate as much stress and worry as possible. And for me, one of the biggest worries, man, is making sure my kids are straight. So again, I say, if you in a relationship and you're thinking about leaving and you have children together, try your best to make it work for the sake of the kids. And not only for the kids, man, talk about your peace of mind. Talk about how y'all going to build together. That's very important, because if you're in a relationship and y'all not building together, regardless of the kids, that's a worthless relationship. You and your lady supposed to be talking about how y'all going to build, how y'all going to take care of the babies that much more, that much better. Working together to build something. I believe that it takes two parents to take care of the children. So again, if you're thinking about leaving, try your best to stick in there, man. Hang in there and make it work. This is the Father Time Network. and I'm here to make being a father cool again.